My name is Robin Schmidt. I am the victim of Hurricane Irene. My husband and I live in Babylon, New York. We were fortunately local as the storm was approaching. We did what we could to sandbag and prevent as much damage that could have been prevented. However, a 10-foot tidal surge, there's really not a lot you can do. I was on the phone immediately with SERVPRO. The manager here on Long Island, Danny Wallace, showed up without fail. He was the, I don't know if I was his first client or his last, but he was here very early. They were actually telling us the direction that they were going to take. They made piles of what was not salvageable, what was possibly salvageable. All I could do is suggest to highly recommend SERVPRO, because they've just made it so easy. And within 2 days, the house is clean, the floors are mudless. I couldn't have done it myself.
When you're ready,
SERVPRO, how can we help?
help gets there faster. The cleanup specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and SERVPRO.com. Helping make fire and water damage like it never even happened.
I've had 16 years of active duty service. I have a muscle spasms down my whole left rib cage. I can't do anything about it. The idea that this huge company was going to come out and these guys that I see on TV are going to be the ones that are working here, okay, you know, that's pretty big.
I think it's really cool these people are coming to help him.
I think I'm on my 4th concussion, 3 of which that I was actually unconscious for. Part of the Air Force's Wounded Warrior program. I had an action list and of things that I might need or might, you know, before I get medically retired. And on that checklist, you know, it's just anything you're worried about. Well, I had some mold in my basement and thought I was going to be able to take care of it myself. Fortunately, I'm not able to now. And the lady at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, who's my case manager, she started calling people, and I didn't know about it. So I actually got a phone call out of the blue from the people from SERVPRO. And they came out and talked to me and said they could help. And they sure have. They've been out here working for 2 days.
We're here today to try to provide a safe environment for Mr. Nooning by doing the remediation, disinfecting, the demo, and then hopefully we will be doing the putback starting next week sometime.
We were having a lot of rain. I know it's actually flooded 3 times. One of which was we actually had sewage back up. It was really awful. And the most recent one being last spring. Everything that I had done to try to save the basement really didn't matter too much at that point.
The homeowner originally tried to take care of some of the problem himself and cut some of the drywall out, and you know, it just wasn't able to do what he needed to do to remediate the mold.
I used to spend a lot of time in the basement, and then like the first time it flooded, I wasn't allowed down there anymore, and me and my dad just kind of joked around about like our animals canoeing in it, but I think it's really cool these people are coming to help him.
You know, when I first started talking to Chris Wells, he went through and explained to me what they're going to do. And I tried to keep my composure and not let my jaw hang open, because that's more than I could have ever asked for.
This is one way that we can say thank you to both Mr. Nooning and his family and all the other service members that devote their time and sacrifice so we can do what we do every day. So I'm very happy to do this for him.
I've always been really proud of my dad. When people try to help him because he's a veteran, he always tells them, I just want to do this to like help my nation, my country. And he wasn't even expecting this. Like, he wanted it to happen, he just didn't want people to have to help him. And I think it's really cool, and it makes me really proud of him. It's just the type of person he is.
All right, you get brownies.
Come on.
We're grateful, and we're humbled by it, and I think it's well, it's great that she sees that side of it too.
Under the roof of a home or business, damage can happen. When it does, turn to the specialists who put help in the palm of your hand. The Ready app and emergency response plans from 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
Knowing what to do and what to expect in advance is the key to timely mitigation and can help you minimize how water and fire damage can affect your home or business. Welcome to the Emergency Ready program for your mobile device. Whether you're a homeowner or a multi-site property or risk manager, the SERVPRO Ready Plan app has been developed to help you be ready for whatever happens. Ready Plan will allow you to create individual emergency ready profiles for each of your properties, saving you time when minutes count. You received notice that heavy rains have flooded one of your properties.
If you live in an area that is prone to flooding, be prepared to take action should flooding develop.
Immediately, you can open the SERVPRO Ready Plan app and submit a water damage claim to help ensure the damage is contained and the restoration process begins promptly. The power of the app is entering detailed information about each of your properties before an event occurs, giving you the chance to minimize business interruption by having an immediate plan of action. While no one plans on a disaster, with the SERVPRO Ready Plan app, you can be ready for whatever happens. Choose your mobile platform and get started with the SERVPRO Ready Plan app today.
Residential to commercial, from large loss to emergency response. Whenever damage strikes, call on the cleanup team that's faster to any size disaster at 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
Minot was a fairly easygoing little community, town, whatever, in North Dakota. We mostly a university kind of a city, lots of agriculture in the area. Pretty laid-back town, was fairly quiet, fairly easy to get around. It's a nice community to live in. My name is Father Fred Harvey. I am the pastor here at St. Therese Church of the Little Flower, and as a part of that, this was a part of the elementary school system for the Catholic schools here was housed in this building. Before the flood hit in June, there was an evacuation in May already, the end of May. There was a lot of hope that there was not going to be a flood, there was not going to be much of anything. We were notified of a heavy rain in Canada and that there was going to be a lot of water coming through, and they were not sure how it was going to happen. While we building the dikes, he'd come around the corner and look down the street and see the water coming up or filling the parking lot to the south of us and it just started moving this direction, and it was really surreal. It was coming slow, but yet we knew it was coming. We just didn't know how bad it was going to get at that point. The day the siren sounded, it was earlier than expected. They were Everybody was told they had until like about 6 o'clock to get out of their neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. The traffic was tremendously heavy. Your cell phones weren't working. We made the decision to let this building take on water. That was a whole nother issue that was really hard. Going back into those rooms once the water sat here for 2.5 weeks, it's amazing what water will do and how it circulates and spins and busts up. I had a huge oak desk that was with a slate top, and it was in 5 pieces. It was totally destroyed. You have to walk away and just kind of think about things for a while, but it was a crazy day. In the first days of it, I contacted Chad at SERVPRO right away. We had people flying in from all over the place, different team leaders, and the equipment was coming left and right. And you can walk the halls now and you would not know that there was water sitting in here for 2 weeks. There's not that smell, there's not any of that. How they just did the construction around the building to dry the brick and all that, that was impressive. I mean, they put their heads together. What have we done in other places? They had it all planned. They knew what they were doing, and that gave me that reassurance, that comfort that I can turn this over to them. They put their heads together. What have we done in other places around the country? They had the expertise, and that helped, and that certainly was good for us to see. And SERVPRO was definitely here to help. SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
Yeah, it's a big mess. But don't worry, cleanup's already underway.
When the things that matter most are on the line, make sure we are too. The disaster recovery team at 1-800-SERVPRO. Like it never even happened.
Last December, I was having a party for my son and decided I wanted my fire. And so I started a fire, and I had just had the lining redone. It's embarrassing to admit, but I didn't open the flue. It was a lot of smoke, but I still thought I could handle it until I got to the fireplace, and it was just so dark and just such a mess, and we couldn't get it clean. And anyway, Corey came in, and I have moved at least 30 times in my life. So when he came in and we were talking about packing everything up, 30 years of living in one place, and some of my things are worth nothing except sentimental, and then some of them are worth quite a bit. The trust issue for me was huge. I was scared to death. And I kept repeating to him, that's a San Luis. I wasn't completely convinced until I saw them packing. And when I saw how careful they were packing, I never worried again. They're that competent and capable. Our hope, my children turned out to be anywhere near as nice as any of these people. They're caring, they're loving, they're sympathetic, they're understanding, they're patient. When I'm unpacking my boxes, the most wonderful thing these girls did was on each one of these boxes, they had taken each thing from each shelf and packed it in there. So it says, china cabinet, living room, top shelf left side. And I knew everything that was in that box came out of that cabinet on that top shelf left side. Can you imagine if they had just said china cabinet and I had 30 years of stuff in there? I wouldn't have had a clue where to start. You can't imagine how wonderful they were. They were just great. I've never been treated so nice in my life, and I'm just really grateful. I consider it a blessing. And I think it goes back to who the people were that hired the people to do it, and their basic philosophy of life. These are businessmen and businesswomen, but they have another calling. Theirs isn't just making money and making a living for their family. Their calling is kindness to their community. I've just had a wonderful relationship with this whole company. I think SERVPRO has been my hero. I think Corey and Chloe are heroes to me. What could have been a tragedy, they made only a minor inconvenience. I couldn't have been happier with them. SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
The science of drying. The knowledge of psychrometrics is essential to restoring a structure to its pre-loss condition. Where the average do-it-yourself homeowner or business owner might be tempted to grab a few beach towels to mop up the mess and place a box fan or two around the damaged area, your local SERVPRO franchise professionals follow strict industry-accepted standards to help lower the chances of any secondary damages. A trained restorer will inspect the building to detect every component that is wet, preventing damage from occurring because wet components were overlooked, measure how much moisture is in the wet materials, and monitor whether the materials are drying properly. A wet building can often dry naturally. When materials are wet, moisture will naturally move to drier air at the surface of the material, but only if the air is indeed drier. The only problem is Mother Nature takes too long, and secondary damages occur while the building is drying out. For this reason, your local SERVPRO franchise professionals have been trained to use top-of-the-line equipment to help Mother Nature along, including equipment to help dry hardwood floors, tough-to-reach spaces inside walls, and much, much more. We also use state-of-the-art monitoring equipment and a proven scientific process to help speed the drying of your home or business. Your local SERVPRO franchise professionals have the training and equipment to help make it like it never even happened.
From restoring damage in just one room to an entire building, turn to the cleanup team that's here in your community and here to help at 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
You could never build a building like this. It is absolutely beautiful when you come over the bridge and see the clock tower, and when you walk into it and you see all the brass and the gold colors and the marble floors. It's really a beauty.
One of us received the phone call that Bay City Hall was on fire. We had our vehicles there within about 15 minutes.
When it was all said and done and the water and the smoke had settled, it was not a huge fire.
It wasn't the fire damage I was concerned about, it was the water at that point.
The water had waterfalled through the entire structure and caused way more damage than what the actual fire did.
It was a disaster in here. It truly looked like a war zone in this room in particular. SERVPRO had to completely gut this room. There was a couple days I would come in here and the workers were in here using toothbrushes or just little rags because there's so many little spots in the brass and the woodwork. I mean, it was a tedious, long job. SERVPRO was a huge asset to this job. We are forever grateful for everything that they've done for us.
We may or may not ever get a job quite this large again. I think it's just proof that if you put your mind to it, that SERVPROs can do some very, very nice work and some large jobs. And I think the sky's the limit. And we hope we can get another one that's this good.
It looks like we walked into the 1800s again.
From 2 stories to 20. From ready apps to emergency response. From your community to a nationwide network. The cleanup specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO. Everything under your roof, everyone under ours. Helping to make fire and water damage like it never even happened.